Hey everybody, ZachFriends92 here with a different video for you guys today. I haven't made a top any kind of video in quite some time. But this, by the thumbnail title, you know what it's going to be for. It's going to be for my top 5 personal favorite Power Rangers TV series. Now, as you guys know, I've been watching Power Rangers since Turbo, and the last series I've actually personally watched was in 2006, and ever since then I kind of drifted away. And I started to kind of rewatch the classics that I grew up with around 2000. Was it? I think it was like 2015 now. There sometime 2016. I think it's 2000. I think it might have been 2016. But I've only pretty much been purchasing the ones that I grew up with and personally liked. Obviously, the series some have aged very, very well, while some have aged pretty poorly. But it just depends on when it was made to. And who they hire to act as well. But I have not seen anything past 2006, so anything from Operation Overdrive that was next? After 2006, and then the most recent Super Ninja Steel. I don't have any kind of interest in any of the Rangers in between that to the most recent. And it's not because personally, I don't know, they just haven't been very creative to me, in my opinion, since then. And since they kind of already did Ninjas twice, Ninja Steel would be kind of pointless for me to watch. And I don't know, I think they're kind of running out of ideas. Unless they can come up with something very creative, I don't know for sure if I'd ever watch the newer ones ever again. And anyway, to my list, number 5 is going to be for Power Rangers Mystic Force. Mystic Force was the last season that I've ever seen, which was in 2006. I didn't watch the whole season. I watched most of it, and then once I had seen online that the new season was coming out, Operation Overdrive, I was at first excited, but then just a little while after, kind of towards the middle of the series, is when I kind of gave out. I was kind of bored of it, and I kind of, from then on, just completely forgot about the series in general and started watching other shows, which I still really adore today, like the Ben 10 original show. That's when pretty much Ben 10 was coming out, or was already out by that point, and kind of got more addicted to that than any of the shows at the time. But Mystic Force came out in 2006 and had these group people as the Rangers. The one in the middle is the red, the one in the blue is obviously the blue. This guy's yellow. This girl's pink, and he is, wait. Nope, my bad. This guy's blue, this guy's yellow. But, had only 32 episodes, and I was kind of surprised of how short the series I've gotten. It seems like every single time, from then on, went lower and lower and lower in episodes. I was going to say, wow, did they just run out of ideas throughout the seasons and just had less and less episodes? Because I could see them continuing more of the ones that I've chosen to be much longer. I think they should have done that, because like that they've done that nowadays with Saban coming back with the series, where he kind of makes a second season in a way, calling it Super. But anyway, I'm going to read the back, which gives a description of what this season was about. The evil Mordecon leads his army of darkness to attack modern-day peaceful city of Briarwood. To stop them, the powerful sorceress Udana recruits a team of 5 teenagers destined to become Power Rangers Mystic Force. Udana takes this new team of Rangers to her magical headquarters in an otherworldly forest known as the Root Core. There, the Rangers practice magic, and through the powers of the magical book known as the Zunatome, use spells to battle back the forces of evil encroaching on our world. Equipped with mystic morphers and magistaffs, aided by other magical rangers, our heroes will need every trick up their sleeves to overcome the vast armies of Mordecon. This season was really, really good. If you don't want me to tell you what happens in any of these shows that I'm about to do, that skip about 10 to 20 seconds. I'm not going to go too deep into the series. But pretty much, what was a really cool plot twist that it was kind of obvious because they were kind of doing hints every now and again in the season where it shows that the Red Ranger is actually the lost son of Udana, the person who's the White Ranger, who actually lost her powers close to the beginning of the season. It finds out that one of the evil knights that they were fighting was actually the father throughout the entire show. I can't remember why. I'm really horrible at remembering names. I know people will tell me in the comments who they are, and I always thank them, even if I just don't physically reply. But anyway, the father was this wolf, a purple wolf with the shield with the eye on it. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. I watched the season. He had like wolves on his shoulders. He was a really cool villain, but his good side was always fighting with his bad. Oh man, this season was just so good. Some of the acting wasn't great, but and some episodes weren't the best. But most of it was so good. I really like the capes that they actually added to the Rangers. That actually makes them look a little cooler to me personally. And I really like how their morphers are. They're like flip phones. Back when this came out in 2006, so flip phones were still modern phones at the time. So they would flip it open and pull out another extra piece with a 1 tip at the end. They would put in their number code, and they'll go magical source, mystic force, and then that's how they would pretty much morph. They would also do something very similar when they want to go to their super mode, which they would grab their magical staffs. They'll do similar, but instead they go here with the staff, be legendary source, mystic force. And then the Red Ranger is the only one who actually got a battle mode, like a special mode. Really, really cool, though, too. There was this other, like, goblin character named Phineas, who was absolutely hilarious to me in the show. It was, if you haven't seen the season, the series isn't very hard to find. It's like, what, $13, $15, sometimes depends on where you live. But I'd recommend it. Definitely watch it if you haven't seen it yet. And then number 4 would be Power Rangers: The Lost Galaxy. Or just Lost Galaxy. I thought for some reason said the... Now this season was incredibly dark at times. And my case was broken when I got it. It was the only one that wasn't like broken in pieces at my store. It had one little broken spot, but nothing too terrible. The discs are fine too. But this season had 45 episodes, and that is quite a bit. That's an amount of a season I would actually like for every one of these, but unfortunately they didn't. But Power Rangers Lost Galaxy reads on the back, it says, the massive spaceship Terra Venture represents mankind's greatest accomplishment. This giant spacecraft hosts multiple habitat domes with diverse environments ranging from a lake to a mountain range, even a dome with a sprawling city inside, as it takes thousands of human pioneers deep into space to settle a new world. Along the way, they are stalked by dangerous aliens led by the insect-like villain Scorpius and his daughter Trakina, rising to protect the colony ship and its many inhabitants. A team of Power Rangers from different walks of life unite to become the Galaxy Rangers. Pretty much, the Pink Ranger that's actually on the back is not the original Pink Ranger. During the show, oh yeah, I forgot the show came out in 1999? Yeah, 1999. This is the last season from the 1990s. But anyway, the Pink Ranger, who originally, her name in the show was Kendrix. In the show, she sacrificed herself to protect what was it called? Where'd it go? I'm hearing sirens, that's not good. The Terra Venture. Of course, I was looking right at it. In the show, she did sacrifice herself, which was extremely sad and dark for a Rangers show. Then, she somehow, though, at the very, very end of the season, came back to life. Doesn't ever explain it. That did kind of confuse me like crazy, but it was still a really good season. And the person who placed the Pink Ranger in the show was actually an ex-villain from a previous season. I think she was the villain in Space Rangers, which is one I don't have in my collection yet, but I'm hoping to get it sometime in February or March. But anyway, that season was just so good. Really cool Rangers. Really, like, the people who played them were actually really good. What's interesting is that the person who played Kendrix, or the lady that played Kendrix, in real life, she actually had surgery done, because of a disease that I really don't want to get into, but she had to leave the show. She didn't want to leave the show, but she had to. She didn't know if she would ever come back. And thankfully, she was healed, and she came back very, very end of the show. I'm not sure if they just brought her back just because they kind of wanted to give her some ending scenes. I'm not sure. I wonder if that's why they never gave an explanation why she came back to life. But really good season, really dark, but really absolutely fun. Definitely recommend, if you have not seen it, to go watch it. Now, on to my number 3. Now this one has definitely has a really good spot in my heart, because it's one of my well, obviously it's my list, so it's one of my favorites. It's going to be for Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Now this season had a lot of ups and a few downs. Now let's get the downs out of the way first. What was it? The person who plays Vipra, her acting is pretty awful, and I hate to sound rude, but her acting was just terrible. She was a cool villain. She looked cool, but she did such a poor job as a villain in that show. But this show had its dark scenes too. Not as dark as Lost Galaxy. But real quick, going back to Lost Galaxy, I forgot to tell you, the Yellow Ranger in this season actually plays on a Disney Channel show currently going on. She plays the mom in Stuck in the Middle. And that's something that kind of surprised me when I was looking up the bio of the people who acted in this. And that's how I found a lot of information about the Pink Ranger and all that. But that's kind of interesting. Side note. But anyway, back to Lightspeed. The Red Ranger, okay, minus Vipra, the only other downside I'd say would be the person who played the Yellow Ranger wasn't the greatest in acting, but she was way better still than Vipra. But the Red Ranger in here was probably one of the coolest Rangers in that time period before other seasons came out. But I think he didn't get a special mode until close to the end of the series, just like another one I'm probably going to mention sometime. Oh yeah, I forgot to read the back, didn't I? After 5,000 years of incarceration, the evil Diabolico and his treacherous army of demons have escaped their imprisonment, and will stop at nothing to destroy the community of Mariner Bay and its innocent citizens. The new Power Rangers, empowered with top-secret technology, are the planet's only hope. Chosen for their expert skills, this unique team of 5, a firefighter, an aquatics professional, and a martial master, an accomplished aviator, an extreme sports enthusiast, and a paramedic, is commissioned to defend Earth from the evil Diabolico and wage their battle from the safety of their high-tech underwater compound and weapons laboratory, the Lightspeed Aquabase. Man, I can't talk today. The stakes are high as these brave Lightspeed Rangers are rescuers from Earth's final line of defense. This season had 40 episodes and was a really good ending of a season, to be honest. I really liked the ending. Unlike all the other Rangers, they actually weren't hidden. Their identities were actually public at the very start when they became the Rangers. Everyone who knew who they were. So they were kind of like, not like in secret like most Rangers were. And I liked the fact that at the end of the series, unlike still at the time most of the shows, they didn't lose their powers. They still get to keep their morphers and become Rangers whenever they need to be, and whenever they're called upon. I thought the relationship between the Green Ranger and the female scientist, why am I forgetting their names today, was absolutely hilarious throughout the season. And it's funny is that in another season of Power Rangers, they actually, when the Rangers come back, these Rangers for the special episode, they're actually the Green Ranger and the Professor they're actually dating, which was absolutely hilarious that they actually made that canon through it. And what I thought was really neat is that this was also the first and only season, to my knowledge. I don't know about any other season, but to my knowledge, this was the only one where there was an American-made Ranger that was not in its Sentai Ranger counterpart. And Power Rangers are based off a Japanese TV show called Sentai Rangers, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's from what I remember. And the Titanium Ranger was the only exclusive Ranger at the time. I'm not sure. I've heard that there were more, but I don't remember who. But that was really cool that they added, that they didn't actually have to add. That was really neat. And also like how the Red Ranger and the Chief were kind of like father and son kind of way. They were like, pretty much when the Red Ranger was rescued it from a fire when he was younger, he wanted to be like this fireman that he was rescued from. That the firefighter rescued him. But he never got to see his face. And there's just an episode when he finally realized that the Chief was actually the person who saved him. And the Red Ranger became a firefighter at the time because he wanted to be like his hero. And I thought that was a really, really neat characteristic that they didn't have to add, that I thought was really neat. That's pretty much it. If you haven't seen Lightspeed Rescue, recommend it big time. This came out in the year 2000. It was the first one in the 2000 series. Well, from the year 2000 and onward, I mean. Now, number 2. And these two were hard for me to pick which one was number 1. But there's reasons why my number 1 still is number 1 for a reason. But number 2 is going to be for Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder was in the Disney era of the Rangers and brought back Tommy Oliver as the Black Ranger. And that sole reason is why this season did really, really well for a lot of fans. Personally, to me, I do think he's an awesome Ranger, probably one of the best. But not just him is the reason why I love this season. The villains were insanely creative. I really liked the outfits. This season had 38 episodes. It came out in the year 2004. And I thought everything about this season was great. Absolutely amazing. This is when the special effects started going really, really nice at the time. They've aged now, but they're really good, and they've held well. But this season had really good acting, in my opinion. Obviously not the greatest. There's other movies that I have that are far better in acting. But for a Ranger show, this was great. Absolutely amazing. This time, instead of like most shows at the time, there were 3 Rangers originally, until Tommy became the Black Ranger. And then soon later, Trent became the White Ranger. And I think they all had this super dino mode that they had in the season, where their white spots on their outfit would be coming out like shards or something like that, and become insanely powerful. The Red Ranger was the first one to experience it. And later on, he gets a Battleizer mode as well. It's absolutely amazing, too. He gets kind of like 2 forms, and it's really amazing. Because there's the standard one with his triumphant shield, and then I believe there's like another mode, once he's in that suit, he gets like a Battleizer mode where his arms get super stretchy and flame fists and kicks. It was amazing. But let me tell you the story of it from the back. On a remote island, a doctor and his assistant work on a special project to create Dinozords, creatures of incredible strength and intelligence. When the island is blown to pieces in a furious battle, the assistant discovers that the Dinozords were created for evil. Barely escaping, the assistant now lives the quiet life of a high school teacher. When he meets three teens, they become an unlikely new team of superheroes called the Power Rangers Dino Thunder, who defend the Earth against this new evil. Man, they don't actually really go into depth onto this. But this season was really amazing. And at the very end of this season, if you obviously you don't want spoilers, skip it. At the very end, they do lose their powers. They do lose their Zords. But I think it was like the reporter and her friend who actually got to see them fight and agreed to not expose them as what they were for Rangers, which was really amazing because I really did like those two characters, and they developed through the season too. Everything about this show was so good, and probably the best Disney era season ever, in my personal opinion. But if you have not seen Dino Thunder, it's, wow, 14 years old this year. I just make myself feel older and older every time. But this season will always have a special spot in my heart. Dino Thunder is fantastic. And the acting was amazing too. And now, before I get to my number one, I do have an honorable mention. One that was close to making this list, but just didn't make it for reasons. But I'm not sure if I'll tell you the reasons or not. I don't know. I'll probably. Let's go to before. Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Ninja Storm was a really good season. It really got better once the season got the Green Ranger in it. It had 38 episodes. It came out 2003, right before Dino Thunder. And they did do a collab episode between Dino Thunder and Ninja Storm. Very good show, but the acting was probably... It wasn't really the worst, I couldn't say that. But not fantastic. It was okay. But the Rangers themselves were really cool. I think one of the downsides was some of the plots and how it seemed like when the Thunder Rangers were trying to destroy the regular Rangers, the Ninja Rangers, because of they thought that they killed the parents, or that not them, but their master did, and they wanted to destroy them to get revenge. But I did not like how they played off the parents in the show. They showed them as ghosts or spirits or whatever, and they did it in a very poor fashion. The acting of the parents was terrible, but they could have made it a little bit more in depth and more detail of what actually happened before the Thunder Rangers turned good. But they immediately turned good, like, real quick. I was kind of annoyed by that, but that was probably the only true annoyance I had with the show. After the Green Rangers came in the series, like I said, is when it became super amazing. But barely did it make the list. But now, at number one, you already know what's going to be for. I've talked about it several times, and it's probably going to be obvious why. It's going to be for Power Rangers Time Force. Power Rangers Time Force came out in the year 2001, and it is my favorite season to date. And now I can tell you why. And if you can't already guess, I can show you the reasons why. I have the PlayStation 1 game that I've unboxed before, and I recently, like a month or so ago, excuse me, pardon me, I got the Game Boy Color version, and I still need the Game Boy Advance version to kind of complete the video game collection of this season. This cartridge, unfortunately, is not like in the greatest shape. You can see like a lot of the meh condition, I should say. But this season ran for 40 episodes, and has some of the best plot twists I've actually seen in the show. I did not finish this season when I was younger. I got so close. I was like at the last few episodes, and then I think I just forgot for some reason. And when I missed my chance to watch it, I was kind of upset. But more spoiler alert warning, so skip it if you want. The Red Ranger, the original Red Ranger from the year 3000, actually dies. He gets killed. Well, supposedly gets killed. At the very end of the show, it turns out that he was alive the whole time. He just was in severe condition. He almost died, pretty much. But Jen, when she thought he was dead, went to the past to stop Rancic, the villain, to get her revenge. and finds a guy named Wes who shares the DNA of her ex-fiance, who at the time was supposed to be dead. I actually thought he was dead. They did a dramatic scene and everything, and they had no like hints that he was alive, other than the small portions of him just showing up in his. You just see his sunglasses and him giving out the time shadow, sending it to the past to help out the Rangers. But they did not zoom out enough. It was hard to like tell who this person was, and I was wondering throughout the season, like, okay, who is this guy? But let's see. It says on the back, in a distant future, a team of Power Rangers known as the Power Rangers Time Force act as a time-traveling police force, capturing and freezing criminal mutants. When a notorious criminal mastermind, Rancic, stages a daring escape, he fells the Red Time Force Ranger, Alex, and takes the entire cryogenic prison full of dangerous incarcerated mutants back in time with him to the year 2001. There he seeks to unleash a new wave of crime against our modern world. Helpless against his vastly superior technology, in pursuit, Rancic, Pink Ranger Jen, grieving fiancé of Alex, leads a team of Time Force officers back in time to apprehend the escaped criminals. In modern time, they ally themselves with Alex's distant ancestor, Wes, whose shared DNA with his future descendant allows him to take up the powers of the Red Time Force Ranger. Speaking of Time Force, time out, guys. Sorry about that. That was not really intended. I do pray that they are safe, whoever is going on in that. Please, Lord. Amen. Anyway, back to this. The Time Force Rangers was, to me, the best season for many reasons. One of them, in which is at the very end of the season, Rancic. They were doing like several amazing battles at the very end. I was expecting like a big blowout, like they lose their powers, the same old things I'm used to seeing. But instead, Rancic was fighting, I think it was Jen at the time, and Rancic's daughter comes in at the wrong time holding a baby that she just helped give birth to a citizen's baby. And accidentally hits his daughter, but she did protect the baby, so that's good. Rancic feels horrible for what he did to his daughter and almost killing that baby. And that was a very, very amazing scene that he actually gave up. He gave up, and Jen arrested him, and he was willing to pay for his actions. He felt horrible for what he has done to the people and wanted to become good, which was probably the best ending I think I've seen in a Ranger season ever. I know some people kind of hate that ending. I was like, why? It's ending in a peaceful way. It's amazing. I really liked that. And all the characters had their own special episodes on times. I think the ones who had most were Wes and Jen. But then I'd say after that would be Trip, and then... Why am I forgetting his name? Man, I'm forgetting his name. The Blue Ranger. But anyway, I'm also forgetting the Yellow Rangers. Why? I know them. I do know them. Man, I have such bad memory. But then they also, during the season, meet the Quantum Ranger, which is actually Wes's rival, who he wanted to be friends with, but he refused to be friends with him for some reason, until like the very, very end of the season. And man. But anyway, he considers Wes as a rival because he thinks that he was pampered and given everything that he wanted, but Wes wanted just to be friends with him. He was kind of like a down-to-earth, really nice person. I'm not sure if the Quantum Ranger was extremely jealous, but he did show his nice sides around the middle to the end of the series, kind of from the middle onward. Why am I forgetting his name? Eric. That's it. Eric is his name. They originally met as at a prep school doing like martial arts. Both the Quantum and the Red Ranger are almost share in design from their outfits, except for the Quantum Ranger has some jagged edges to probably resemble teeth from a T-Rex from his quantum source. But Time Force ends where the Rangers go back to the future, and Wes is, I believe, kept the red Time Force morpher to become the Red Ranger still whenever he needed to, which was good because I didn't want him to lose his powers. But unfortunately, Wes and Jen never kissed at the very end. They hugged. That should have been the ending to me, because that would have been better there. Anyway, great season, great story. But something I've always wondered: what happened to Wes's mother? Because they never mentioned her once in the season. But it was still a insanely great season. If you haven't seen Time Force, go see it. It's 17 years old, but you can find it for like $13 for the whole set. But tell me in the comments below what you guys and girls think. What do you think of... Oh man, there we go. My entire favorites from my least... Not my least. My top 5 favorites. What's your favorite Power Ranger season and why? See you guys next time, and God bless.